Okay. You're on.
Did you just leave too?
No, but I told him I was gonna be here tonight. He said at 5:30. He said.
I mean, he gets off 4 o'clock, I got 5:30.
4:15 though. Get it right. 4:15. What time you leave, Kim? 4:30. I've never had it many. That was my chicken account.
It's not small potatoes for sure.
If we do it right, it should be the best. Yeah.
No more money coming out.
Saving interest.
Right.
Just be wise what to do in the future.
That's right.
Be like that 20-year-old gets a new car and got so much money left over. So I'll spend the rest of this money. I say you're on that generation, the new generation blows my mind. They don't keep their checking out or nothing. They just spend that much, they don't balance it or nothing. Just fill it. It should be there.
That's why they get draft overdraft charges and wanna know how and why. Or if you do have like, what's your son?
Yeah, what'd she say? That I'd already contracted her
Credit score either.
for veterans.
Oh, no.
But she knew.
And she, I asked her, I mean, I got something I need you to do. Mine's gonna be simple.
That's what you told her.
Yeah. And so, I've got to go measure stuff and we can do it.
Yeah, yours will be done before ours because what we gotta do is we have to go along.
So Ryan, we'll do this. Yeah. Ray, did you get on Tony back? No. We talked.
I don't know.
I didn't. Probably call you. All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call a regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston City Council. Ask everyone to please stand. Mr. McPherson, if you'd lead us in the invocation. Ms. Wright, if you'd lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to live in a free country, for the opportunity to have our elected officials direct the business of this community, and we ask for you to give them guidance as they make those decisions which are in the best interest of the community. For in Jesus' name we pray.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Childs.
Present.
Councilmember Griffiths.
Present.
Vice Mayor Humphries.
Present.
Councilmember Stockton.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Present.
Mayor Neal.
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Are there any, and this is for all sets of minutes that are on there. We've got, what, 2 or 3 sets on here? 2 sets, is that right, Kelly?
There's a regular set, then a special call,
Yeah,
and then.
so that's on both of them. Are there any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
None.
Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes, please.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries.
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Now is time set aside for any citizens that wish to make any comments or appear before the council. Is there anyone wishing to appear before the council tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go into reports. I'll start with Mr. Griffiths. Do you have anything?
No.
Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I do not.
I'll come back to you if you want me
Oh, I'm ready.
to. Okay, you got anything, Mr. Wright?
My report's in here, and hopefully it won't be this thick the next time we're closing out the new building, and that report had the punch list and everything in it, so that's the reason it's so big.
Okay. Ms. Stockton, do you have anything?
I have 2 things. One, I wanted to announce we have our, I announced it in the workshop, but just in case, our outdoorkingston.org has our new veteran banners that you can actually scroll through and see the banners at any time. It's going to have a link to each one of the tours that we're working with the city as well on with the murals will be the next one that we'll post up. So that's really exciting to get to see them. And then in addition to that, we actually have a new mural that is going to be in the works, and it is going to be a veterans mural where we want to also get the community involved. And it is actually, it's going to be quite unique. It's going to be a collage, and it's going to be representing all the conflicts that would be the same time period of the ones of the banners. So it's going to be very, very neat. So.
Anything else? Mr. Childs, do you have anything?
I'll have the REU report and then city manager report if anybody has any questions. We did, one thing I'll bring up real quick, we're getting some new vehicles down at REU. So, we worked a deal with REU and City of Rockwood are going to get one of the trucks for 2006 or late 2006, 7, 8, or 9 sworn. I can't remember. I tried to look to see. The city's going to get one for park and recs, and Rockwood's getting one for the garage, and we agreed to pay $1,000 a piece for it. So that'd be 4-wheel drive, still that truck, one to be going to park and recs, and then the other one Rockwood get that.
Ms. Humphries, you have anything?
Just as we mentioned in the workshop, had a successful 4th of July, smoke in the water, had a great crowd, lots of good sponsors we'd like to say thank you to. I think one reason we had such a good crowd this year is because of the publicity we got from IMZ and from Fox, and I'd like to give an attaboy to Debbie Russell. That's a thing she's been working on for quite some time to try to get them on board, and this year it finally all came together. So next thing we're going to be working on is looking at a time frame for Fall Fest.
Okay, good. I got a couple things. I'm going to be appointing Sammy Frog and Jim Owens to the Planning Commission. And also today, I got a phone call from one of the city employees that wanted me to, I guess he said to give a shout out to the city manager for all the help that he did for him down the 4th of July, out taking trash up at 2:30 in the morning, and you know how good a job that you and Kelly did come together with a situation we had, and he just wanted me to bring it out in the meeting tonight.
I'll deal with him later. So.
I'm not telling you who it is.
I can guess. but Thank you.
Now the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple items here in addition to my written report. You may have seen an email this morning. I copied you guys on an email that I sent to Senator Yeager and Representative Calfee asking them to help us try to get some information from TDOT about the I-40 bridge project. Latest information I received, which came from a report from the South RPO, has now changed the description of the project to bridge replacement and states that the planning document is underway for that. Obviously, a project of anywhere near that scale could have a tremendous impact on the city in terms of traffic. And I'd just like to get a meeting with them or conference call, whatever, so we can be brought into the loop as to what their plans are, what their timetable is. We've tried a couple times to get that set up, haven't had any luck, so I'm hoping that that Senator Yeager and Representative Calfee can help us with that. I believe that an email's already gone out late this afternoon to TDOT requesting that be set up. So I'll keep you in the loop if I hear anything, so you can be a part of that if you want to. A couple of you have asked about the status of the recodification of our municipal codes. Those that aren't familiar with the process, this is something we're required to do every 10 years to bring our codes up to date of anything that's been passed over the years leading up to it. We do have a draft copy from MTAS that I very graciously passed on to the city attorney to peruse, and once he's done that,
I feel so happy.
once he's done that, we'll follow up and meet, and when we get it into get the draft into final form, we'll come back to you all for approval on that. So hopefully that won't take too long, and get that to you for adoption. I've had a couple of you ask me for an update on 500 North Kentucky Street. Just wanted to give you a quick update on that. The city attorney, Chief Washam, and Glenn Kofer and I met on the 28th to discuss our plan forward on this, and certainly not speaking for the city attorney. If you have any questions, he can answer this, but he is in the process of filing that suit per your previous actions. So have some progress on that. Report to you last month came to you that we were approved to apply for the 2021 Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant, which we had hoped to use for traffic light control improvements. Unfortunately, after we started digging into that, looked through the application requirements, we determined that our chances of success simply weren't high enough to justify the time and expense of putting together an application. Like many grants, our per capita income is very detrimental to our scoring. In addition, the Kingston city limits is not directly in the attainment zone that's set for Roane County, and we couldn't sufficiently quantify how those improvements would benefit the area that they didn't identify. So obviously we try to be as proactive as we can in identifying sources of grant funding, and we'll continue to do that. But I feel like we need to objectively evaluate all of them before we commit to the application process. So we'll keep looking, and we'll also look at some other ways to fund those improvements. But that's one option that I don't think will be on the table for us. And finally, I want to take just a minute to quote unquote introduce you to our new Parks and Recreation Director, who's here. And I say quote unquote because he's a familiar face, I'm sure, to all or most of you. But was very proud to offer JR the job. You may know he was an applicant 3 years ago when we went through this process before, and came very, very close. And I told him then to be patient, and his patience has paid off. JR's a 19-year, almost 20-year employee with the city, most of that in Parks and Rec. Has worked hard, climbed the ladder, and now finds himself as the head of the department. I have no doubt he'll do a great job. one thing I think worth pointing out now with JR in this position, that makes every department head in this city having been promoted into their positions. And I think that speaks volumes about the value we have in our employees, that this is a place where you can climb up. So, JR, congratulations. He's hitting the ground running. We have a meeting tomorrow. I already have about a page of things to go over with him. So I know he's got his hands full, but he'll do a great job, and just want to welcome him. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Does anybody got any questions for the city manager? All right, seeing none, we'll go into item 7, which is addition of items to the meeting agenda after the close, and there was not any. There is no unfinished business. We'll go into number 9, new business. So number 9A is consideration of resolution 2107-1301, a resolution authorizing the city of Kingston to participate in the Public Entity Partners Safety Partners Matching Grant Program. Hear a motion for this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Child, second by Ms. Stockton. Mr. Child, do you have anything? Ms. Stockton?
No.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item B is consideration of resolution 2107-1302, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3,050,000 general obligation bonds to the city of Kingston. Do I hear a motion for this? Do I hear a motion for this resolution?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we move forward on it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Brown, second. Mr. Childs, I'll go to you first.
Well, after everything's said and done, we're looking at this and we're putting, at the end, we're gonna be putting $2.5 million on it, and we're saving, what was the total amount savings over the length of the loan, David?
We actually have two gentlemen from Cumberland Securities here. If you want to recognize them, they can answer any questions.
I just wanna make sure
you all-
everybody understood how this was working tonight.
have.
because that's a little confusing.
They-
The overall savings was putting the 2.5 million if both of them are approved.
Question, Mr. Mayor, before he gets started?
Yes, Mr. Brown.
When he gets through and before he starts.
Okay. I just wanted to get that overall savings on it.
Okay.
Mr. Brown.
My question is this either or?
That was
No.
mine.
Okay.
We've got to have this first one
Right.
before we do the second one?
We have to
That
have
is
both of
correct.
them, from what I understand. The first one
Okay.
is just for new money.
Okay.
Because I was asked.
That's the reason I was hesitant on making a motion and seconding it, because, thank you.
Well, that's, and I came in and I asked David, I said, it looks like we're borrowing $11 million.
Yeah.
And I think the first one is for the new money, and the second resolution rolls that money into what debts we're paying off.
Because I knew that we had talked about in the work session that he would have us two, and that we were going to decide on whether to roll it all or just do the one.
I think.
So if you just do the one, you're gonna vote for, well, never mind, you're telling me that we've gotta pass them both.
Right, and I think on what option we were planning on doing comes a little later. We had to get this started right now.
Correct. Yes, sir,
And
that
the
is
sec-
correct.
The second resolution, which borrows, authorizes up to $8.5 million, which would be $2.5 million in the new funding, $2.5 million the general fund, refinancing and financing $3.5 million on the water. That would be regardless, up to that amount, which would cover whichever option you all ultimately decide to do. So.
See, I was confused on that too. I thought the way I was reading it that we were going to be borrowing $11,000. And I was like, well, that wasn't what then I got it verified today what it was.
Okay, Randy, you want him to answer your question?
This is not pertinent to this particular resolution, but what
Yeah.
you'll be doing is if you do the refunding, you'd be saving a gross savings of, or estimated of $106,000 on the general fund, and within the water and sewer piece, around $517,000 estimated.
So overall, what I was getting at, we do this loan, it's That amount, $600,000 over the term of the loan, plus we're putting 2.5 million without a tax increase on. I just want to put that out there.
That's right, and if you
Okay.
recall the conversation we had during the workshop, if you focused on the revenues that you already have in place for the current debt, this is going to help maintain that revenue
Yes.
neutral, piece of this. That is correct.
That's all I have.
Anyone else have any other questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries?
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item C is consideration of Resolution 2107-1303, a resolution authorizing the insurance of general obligation bonds of the City of Kingston, Tennessee, an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $8,650,000 in one or more series, making revisions for insurance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms thereof, and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing the levy of taxes for the payment of principal, premium, if any, and interest on the bonds.
Move to adopt 2107-1303.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second Mr. Childs. Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Childs?
Already said everything I need to. Thank you.
Council? Anything? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries?
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right, let me get where I'm at here, because that was a long one. All right, item D is consideration to approve transferring $10,000 from the capital fund to the general fund for the purchase of brackets for the veteran banners.
Make a motion.
Have a motion by Ms. Stockton. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Ms. Stockton, do you have anything?
No.
Mr. Childs?
I believe it's a good cause.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries?
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
There it is. And the last item on the agenda is consideration of approval for the fire department to surplus equipment as submitted. And it looks like there's quite a long list.
I apologize, we didn't have that list in time for the workshop. This is just a bunch of old radios and accessories they're wanting to sell as a lot.
Okay.
So we don't know, we're not making any claims as to how well it works or if it works. We're gonna put it on and see what we get. Most of it's just junk, scraps.
One man's junk. Do you hear a motion to surplus these items?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Humphries, second by Ms. Stockton. Ms. Humphries, do you have anything to add? Ms. Stockton?
No.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Childs?
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries?
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Being the end of the agenda, this meeting is adjourned.
Mayor, if I could real quick before while they're here, would you be all right if we had Cumberland Securities just come up and kind of give us a little overview of where the process goes from here
That's fine.
now that we've
Yeah.
done that? Well, no, they haven't made that determination yet, but I think we have an idea, but go ahead.
Before you adjourn the meeting, I would respectfully request, let's talk about the options that were in the packet. Do y'all want to make that decision tonight? You adopted the resolution. The reason I ask is we have the debt that you have outstanding has notices that have to be given out. And some of those notices require a 90-day notice. So the sooner we start, if we make a decision tonight, we can know where we're headed. So I can answer your question on whether we do option 1 or 2, and that will determine which pieces of debt we give the notices on and the timing of how we get there. So
We can't do anything now.
Yeah, the meeting, we've already adjourned, so, but,
let's back up. The resolutions were adopted, so
Right.
if y'all would give us some guidance on what option, technically, I don't think we even need a resolution or formal vote. I just need to know where y'all think y'all wanna head.
Well, we can't do that. We can't tell you that. Because we cannot, we've adjourned the meeting and it wasn't on our agenda to choose which option.
Okay.
And we can't just say, he wants this one, she wants that one, so we can't do that, not being in a public meeting.
So the thought, Scott, from, based on the conversations at the workshop last week, was that we would approve these initial resolutions tonight, and then at next month's workshop, dive into which option they want to go. So that's unless, correct me if I'm wrong.
That was my understanding.
That was the impression I got. So that being said, assuming they make, and I guess this is what I wanted you to do, is just kind of give them an overview of what steps remain between now and the issuance of this bond.
So we will get the initial resolution published. That was the first resolution. That is published in the local paper. It allows for a 20-day protest period. There's very rarely a protest, so that 20 days will probably pass. We will come back next month. Y'all can decide an option, and once you do that, we can work on getting the notices out there. The process, because the ODET has, like I said, the 90-day notices, it will take, once y'all make a decision, we can get those notices and get that 90 days started. And so we will be, we also will have to decide, send stuff to the rating agencies. So once you make what option you want to use, we'll send the information to the rating agencies. That process takes about a month to get the ratings in place. David will be involved with that process. The mayor will need to be available for probably, if he wants to be on the call. We'll have a conference call with Standard & Poor's. Once we get all that in place, we will go out and put together what is known as a preliminary official statement and put it out there for all the local banks and firms that buy and sell bonds in the state of Tennessee to review. You'll have information about the bond issue and about Kingston in it, and we will set that out there. We'll set a date and time after we put that out there. About a week later, after we put that out there for the public to see, we will sell bonds, and the winning bidder on those bonds will be the institution that submits the bid that gets you the lowest interest rate. And so once we have that, and then about 30-40 days later, we will sign some paperwork and money will change hands. All your old debt will start to be paid off. Your funds will be deposited into your construction fund for your new money projects, and y'all can start spending money. And under the federal tax laws, you have basically 3 years to get all that spent. So, and hopefully we will get some pretty attractive rates. The rates that were in the options that John discussed with y'all at the workshop were that is a pretty good reference to where rates are today. And if you'll notice, those rates were pretty dang attractive. So you, as part of the process, y'all talking about savings. You were talking about the new money and all the stuff y'all gonna do. And what you didn't mention, what is also a positive benefit, you currently have some variable rate debt. All that variable rate debt potentially could go away if we either pay off with cash or refund the debt. So you will be changing the credit profile of the city from one that is a little more risky with the variable rate debt to a very conservative 100% traditional fixed rate debt if you choose that option. So that could be another potential benefit. So that's kind of where we are. Did that answer your question?
It did, thank you.
So we're looking 5 to 6 months down the road.
I was planning to close on October 20th if we were going to make a decision tonight. Based on the putting it off to the next meeting, we're probably looking more like Thanksgiving. So it's not quite that long. And normally bond issues in the public markets don't take that long, but the loan agreements that you have, like I said, they have 90-day notices built into those, so that kind of delays the process. You have to let that 90 days kind of pass because federal tax law says you have to pay the debt off within 90 days when you issue it. So not only is there a 90-day notice, but there's another up to 60 days after that. So it's really a 150-day notice in some of those loan agreements. But we have built it in, like I said, we can close probably right around Thanksgiving. So it shouldn't be too bad, but it is going to take a little bit of time to get the process going. Anything else?
Well, thank you very
We
much.
appreciate the time tonight.
All right, now I'm gonna call to order the Kingston Beer Board. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Member Brown?
Present.
Member Childs?
Present.
Member Griffiths?
Present.
Vice Chair Humphries?
Present.
Member Stockton?
Present.
Member Wright?
Present.
Chairman Neal?
Present. Do I hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
Make motion.
Second.
Seeing no corrections or deletions to the minutes, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes.
Member Brown?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphries?
Yes.
Member Stockton?
Yes.
Member Wright?
Yes.
Chairman Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
And no business come before the Beer Board, this meeting's adjourned. Now I'm gonna call the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Water Board to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the Water Board?
Member Brown?
Present.
Member Childs?
Present.
Member Griffiths?
Present.
Vice Chair Humphries?
Present.
Member Stockton?
Present.
Member Wright?
Present.
Chairman Neal?
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
You see any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
I do not.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes, please.
Member Brown?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Griffiths?
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphries?
Yes.
Member Stockton?
Yes.
Member Wright?
Yes.
Chairman Neal?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Do we have any citizens that wish to appear before the Water Board tonight? Seeing none, we'll go into the Utilities Director's report. Mr. Bowley.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple items in addition to my written report. I want to back up real quick just to jump back on something from the council meeting and ties into the talk about the funds that we're looking to borrow. I know that Councilmember Brown, I think he was thinking was with the community center roof. I know that's probably the most pressing project we have, and I was going to give you an update on that. We are in the process working with the contractor and MBI to get the contract completed, and hope to have that for you to sign here in the next week or so. But I do know in terms of the contractor, obviously everybody's covered up with work right now. Some of the materials are on back order, so it's not like they're waiting for the green light to go on that. So we're obviously ready to get it going, but it's not something that could start tomorrow, even if we had all the finances figured out. So we've got a little time on that.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes, sir.
On that same line, if I may, when you meet with them again, would you check to see how long they think it's gonna take? Probably less than 30 days or so, I would anticipate. See if they're gonna ask for a draw, or if they're gonna ask for all their money at once, and that would be at the end of the project where they only make one pay request. That may keep us from diving into the general fund too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Will do. Couple things water related. We recently replaced a valve actuator at the water plant, and I've authorized the replacement of the other. These are about $7,500 each, which is why I'm mentioning it to you tonight. Obviously don't need approval at that amount, but did want you to know about it. Pretty big chunk of change. Both are very old. They're probably as old as the plant. So I would gather that's probably 40 years old or more. And getting considerably less responsive. Like I said, one went out completely. The other is on its last legs. We got lucky in finding one in stock that we could quickly replace before we had too much problem. But turnaround time's normally 5 to 6 weeks on those. So rather than wait until the other one went out, I went ahead and gave Chuck the approval to find it and get it ordered, so we can get that work going. While one was down, the other they actually had to open and close by hand. So not an ideal situation there, and just old equipment that needs replacing. You may have noticed Sunday night we had a storm come through, had some very close lightning strikes. One of those hit the Ladd Landing tank. Definitely not the first time that's happened. Fortunately, the transducer survived, which would have been the biggest problem up there, but it did burn out some of the control cards for the communications. We were able to get those replaced that night and got everything back in line by 2 o'clock in the morning, well before the high morning demand started. So hats off to our crew for quickly jumping on that, getting it taken care of, getting everything back up and running, and we've also ordered a couple spare cards for that as well, so we'll have those on the shelf when we need them, and just part of the work of maintaining the system. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions for the utility director? All right. Seeing none, there's no new business. Is there anything else come before the water board tonight?
One thing, Mr. Mayor, I forgot during the council, just to let you all know, baseball thing, just an announcement. The team representing Kingston, the 13-14-year-old, went down to Dyersburg and won the state championship. They will be playing in the Dixie Boys World Series next week in Monroe, Louisiana.
Be nice and warm.
And they have they've requested they're going to have, I believe, a roadblock this weekend. We had
They've asked for one.
we had an opening for a previous one they had asked for some time back. Didn't end up happening, so we gave them that slot, and they'll be having that. So hopefully that'll be successful for them.
Nothing else come before the beer board. This meeting's adjourned.
First day of the little tournament over in Harriman Thursday. $10,700 they took in the first day.